Hello everyone, my name is Webweaver and welcome back to another episode of It's Look Who It Is. So, we're here, I lived, I'm alive, question mark? I'm probably alive, I don't know how to check a pulse, but, you know, theoretically speaking. Told him you were living, them wild-eyed boys who had been away. Now, you might be able to hear my fan. You might be able to hear something weird. This is a janky, sketchy setup that we'll probably talk about as we get into the video. So the last character we played was Toshiaki, but here's the real trick. We haven't played the game in over a week, so we could play whoever we want. Also, you might hear the dog barking. Every time I talk, the dog barks, so I can't actually see if the dog itself is being picked up by the microphone audio source, but you know, whatever it is, however it is, we're ballin'. As previously stated, told them you were living, them wild-eyed boys who had been away. They asked if you could be found, I told them no. Anyways, what are we talking about? I don't know. We're talking about things. I also don't know how much volume I should or shouldn't have because, the jankiness of the setup, which we'll get into in a moment. But, you know, last person we played is Toshiaki. I'm thinking the classic Ohio gaming. Let's do it, chat. It's also Pride Month, you know, so it's the month of, are we going on the Moriko arc for Pride Month? I don't know, we might. You want, like, 30 episodes of Moriko? Actually, it would be 29, because I'm starting on Monday. We could do a little month of Moriko. We could do a little Happy Pride Month, by the way. Yeah, we could do a little month of Moriko. How about that? Moriko, all perks. Let's spice it up a little bit. Whoa, don't get too fancy now. I'm trying to think, do I want to play Moriko for like 30 runs, though? But, like, why not, right? Why not? It would be fun. Also, you can... I see, here's the thing. I won't know how it is until I actually, like, get down into recording it. You know what I mean? Or, like, listening to it. So this is, like, the trial episode to see if this temporary janky setup works. And, if it does, if it sounds alright, then every video will sound like this for, like, I don't know, like 4 months or something, so I get used to it, if it sounds passable enough. I could definitely turn off the fan, but I don't really want to, because it's nice. You know, I've been doing a lot of resting recently, because I just moved, so a little, extra doom when you rest is just the kind of stress that I need in my life right now. Police station, let's get the history club, hell yeah, absolutely, we're locking it in, chat, we're locking it in, chat, we're locking it in, chat, we're locking it in, chat. I don't know if I say something over and over and over again, I don't know why, but it's, like, so funny. Where is that? Whatchamacallit? So the nightmare begins again. So true, bestie, so effing true. So... where do we want to start here? I mean, simply, the only bit of content that I've done so far is, we started doing a Savage Raid that, if you want to watch that, that's a Tourmaline Hazard certified moment from, her POV. It's, we had our first session and we saw every mechanic in Dancing Green. We didn't see the Enrage, because we died, but, like, you know, we saw every mechanic. Multiple times, twice, 3 times, something like that. So that's pretty good. I don't know if we're going to be able to push for the clear, because of, reasons. You know, evil Webweaver would be able to talk about those reasons, but no, I'm good Webweaver, and I would never do anything that violates the game's terms of service so that I could track, how realistic it is, for my static to be able to clear, oh, yo, we're on timeline B, let's go. To may or may not clear a fight, you know. Evil Webweaver would do that, but good Webweaver would never do that. But that's looking a little dicey. This is all I'll say, it's looking a little dicey. People gotta lock in. I gotta lock in. Everybody gotta lock in. It's a learning experience for everyone, and we're all doing it together. Household Hell, Mermaid Sphere Festival, Found Footage, Moonlit Sailors, Household Hell, blah, 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 blah. We could probably just do Household Hell or Fear Festival. I mean, we could just start with Fear Festival if we wanted to. But, like, let's do household hell, grab some money, and then go buy something at the dog store, you know? Something nice. Something nice for the fans. I mean, it's curiosity, after all. So, let's talk about my, my janky-ass setup, alright? So here's what I got going on here. I have a modular table, right? I have a modular table desk setup. And everything just kind of clicks together, and it's held together with these, like, bars that you screw in, and it's very, like, DIY, modular, like, nonsense, right? Now, all of the pieces, besides the width and the height, basically look exactly the same, because they're interchangeable, right? And, again, modular. There we go, I got it out of my system. Hopefully. So, how it works is that you, like, slide them into place, you slide the bars into place, you slide the shelving into place, and then with a certain width, you can put the table piece on, right? And the table piece is how I would normally have my setup. I would have it to where I have the table in front of me that has my 2 monitors, and then I would have a shelving piece to my side, which has my laptop, and then I would have another shelving piece to my side as sort of like a U configuration that has my tablet. And my computer is stored on one of the bottom shelves, and everything's connected, everything's hooked up, everything's great, everything is grand, okay? So, the thing is, I don't know how, but it seems that in the move, half of my desk width pieces went missing. Now, we don't know if they're just buried under some boxes, or if they're actually, like, missing, but there's also one more thing that seems to be completely missing as well, and that's my microphone stand. Yes, this might be the end of the microphone stand arc, I'm so sorry. Which, you might be wondering, what's going on right now with the microphone? We'll get into that in a moment. That's bait for, you know, increasing the average viewer watch time. I've still got it. You think your goat's washed? You think your goat hasn't been in the game for, like, 2 weeks, 1 week, however long ago I pre-recorded all the backlog stuff? You think I'm washed? You think I'm out of the game here? Nah. So, basically, half of the things that would hold up the desk seem to be missing. So, the table piece just can't do anything, right? The table piece is just cooked. So that's the first part about this that's kind of interesting. So, in order to get my computer, like, baseline set up, right, what we had to do... Sorry, I had to get my dog. You might hear her eating her thing in the background. She got, like, a... I don't really know what they're called. They're, like, one of those, like, sticks that dogs chew on. And they, like, you know, it takes, like, an hour for them to chew fully. Well, she's a small dog, so she's been working on that stick for a couple days now. So you might hear her going at it in the background. She's looking at me like, I don't know, she's defensive over the stick for some reason, even though I'm the one who gave it to her. And when she accidentally dropped it off the bed, I picked it up and gave it to her. And she's like, don't go near it, it's mine, it's my treasure, but also if I knock it off the bed, pick it up, please. Which, I mean, sheesh, you know, anyways. So Hole-Ridden Thing's a real son of a gun. Real son of a gun. A guy we don't like to hang out with on the channel very often because he's kind of a dickhead. So we're just gonna do this and hope for the best. Hope that we don't get into another fight that can't be resolved with, don't come any closer, the gunshot is deafening. If it can be resolved by that, then, I mean, I guess we're completely fine. But it might not be. It might not be resolvable like that. But anyways, so... half of the modular desk thing is missing. So I can't put up the table piece. So the table piece is leaning against my wall over there, right next to some foam that I've stacked up, okay? So that's the first thing, is my table piece is not set up. So in order to get my desk set up, in order to get my monitor set up, all this stuff, in order to get my monitor, my keyboard, my mouse, my audio DAC, and my microphone set up, I got out the table that wasn't missing, my airbrushing booth table, which is really narrow, so we're a one-monitor Andy right now, which I wish I wasn't. I really, really, really like having at least 2 monitors. I felt like for a long time that I wasn't using my 2-monitor setup correctly, And I was like, I could be doing this more efficiently, or like, oh, I don't even know I have 2 monitors. But now that I'm only using 1 monitor, I'm like, I want my second monitor back, like, right now. But there's no desk space, so, you know, unfortunately, we can't have it back right now. We gotta wait. We gotta lock in. We gotta wait. But, so... I did mention the microphone there. So, the microphone that has been held up historically with a shitty broken microphone stand that doesn't have any counterweight to it, so if I just put the microphone in its little, what is it, like the little shock mount cage, and I hooked that up to the stand would just crash into the ground every single time because there's no counterweight at all, right? So here's the deal. Here's the shtick, here's the very important thing. Oh god, I forgot we're using all perks. I was temporarily happy, and then we got a level up, and then I was really happy, and now I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh no. Are we ever gonna get Discipline to proc? Who knows? But, like, it'll be nice. Maybe? Question mark? Probably not. Discipline has a really, sketchy payoff, I think. It might go crazy, though. You know, we just need to get our perception up by, like, 3 more, and then we get a bunch of perception checks, and it'll be great, and we'll still fail all of them. Hello, Discord? I thought you were on... Why are you not on streamer mode? That was me, though. I don't know. Usually opening OBS turns Discord on streamer mode, but I guess it didn't do that. So sorry about that. That was my Discord, though, not yours. I mean, it could have been yours. Like, yours could have gone off at the exact same time as mine did. And they could have been synced up perfectly. But, you know, that noise... If it was alone, accompanied, and you're not expecting a Discord message, and you don't see a Discord highlight or, like, notification, then, you know, probably mine. Let's relax a bit. Because it doesn't really matter what we press there. It's gonna give us max stamina anyways, and we already had max sanity, so... Here, Yuki Mizutani? Nah. So, my microphone is currently being propped up on a towel. It is lying on its side, it is lying on the towel, which is lying on the table, and the towel is bunched up into a point where the microphone is, like, lying diagonally pointing towards me. Now, if I go on the keyboard here, you're gonna hear that a lot louder than before. And depending on my audio settings, you might even hear the click of the mouse more than you originally did as well. But, you know, thankfully for World of Horror, I only need to use the mouse, and my microphone is actually far away from the mouse. Now, normally the microphone would be to the right of me in front of my face, and it would be hanging off to the distance of, like, the available audio source, because the microphone is, like, double-headed or whatever, or, like, double-sided, so there's, like, a, you know, a microphone part on one side, and there's a microphone part on the other side. I don't really know what you call that. I don't really know what you describe that as. Besides just like a normal... it would be a normal microphone to me, because this is the microphone I've had since, like, well, like 2014? I've had this microphone for like 12 years. It's a really good microphone. I have no intention of ever getting rid of it. And if it breaks, then I'm just going to see if I can buy another one of the exact same kind, because it's really good. But, you know, it's just lying on its side diagonally, propped up towards me. And normally it would be in front of me. And it has a setting where you can either choose to record it from, like, dual channel, or you can record it from just the front, or, like, a surround sound sort of thing, right? And so I have it set to where it's just set to recording to the front. So normally, whenever I'm click-clacking on the keyboard or using the mouse or whatever, you would only hear the audio that is, like, bouncing off the walls and wrapping around to the front of the microphone that is in front of my, like, you know, face. But now it's just lying on the desk in front of me, so, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's look who it is. It's not an ideal microphone setup, and I can't monitor my audio levels because I only have one monitor set up right now. I've got my other monitor wrapped in towels and shrink wrap sitting over there. I don't even know if it works. I haven't even tried setting it up yet. Maybe I should just have it on the ground pointed towards me so I can, like, look over down to the right or down to the left and see the monitor, and it's, like, on. Because maybe that would still work. But it's like, I don't know. I don't have a second monitor, so it's like, how am I supposed to, you know, how am I supposed to browse Twitter while I'm raiding now? You know, I actually have to, like, pay attention, and if I want to browse Twitter, I have to, like, Alt-Tab. But there's, like, since I'm playing in borderless window, it's like I Alt-Tab, and I have to, like, Alt-Tab to the windows real quick, and then read it through the little window preview, and then Alt-Tab back to the game. It's a whole thing, man. It's a whole thing. I mean, we could just onsen again for fun. I mean, yeah, you know, you came out all the way here. Like, you might as well onsen, right? Now, if we take 1 stamina damage exactly here, then, you know, that was a bad idea, but, you know, maybe we could have chilled a little bit longer. I don't know. I think it's potato. If you can perfectly predict exactly what damage you're gonna get, we should have just rested. We probably should have just visited the village again, seen if there was a good ally, and then chilled, but, then rested a little bit, or then onsened there. But I think Moriko deserved an onsen. I feel like I deserve a nice hot bath at a beautiful spring in the countryside, with a bunch of, like, cool, smooth rocks around the place, and, like, a little waterfall feature. I think I deserve that. I think Moriko deserves that. I think everybody deserves that. Well, not everybody, obviously, but, like, most people probably deserve it. Anyways, what are we talking about? Oh no, my money. We're gonna have to make more money. But, yeah, no, it's a pretty fun... I got my air brushing booth table set up here, and I have multiple things hanging off of the table because it's very narrow. It just was fitting an airbrush booth, and literally that's it. It had no reason to ever fit anything else, you know, so, I mean, it might as well just fit exactly what it needs to. One Doom is like, you're a piece of crap, honestly. Like, you're the biggest piece of crap here. Honestly, send this guy to hell. Oh, dude, you've got to be kidding me, dude. Are you serious? The 2 damage Andy? You could have done 3 if you really felt like it. I'm not throwing the compass, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, this is how it's gonna have to be. It's just 1% Doom, so it's not, like, a huge deal, but, like, you could have burned me, and then I would have been really upset. I would have been really upset, brother. I would have been, like, really furious. Don't miss a 95% chance. I know I'm playing Moriko, but don't miss a 95% chance. We're on Timeline B. We already know this. We're wearing Hail the King, baby. It's look who it is. You know, I mean, it's a good item, but, like, we're kind of a perception character, so, you know, who cares? Maybe I should have restored some sanity, actually, now that I think about it. I should have restored some sanity, because then we could have gotten some really nice recovery from the bathtub. Oh, it would have been beautiful. What the hell was I not thinking? Art knowledge, perception, there we go, baby. Excuse me, I clicked perception like 80 years ago, thanks. Yeah, that would have been better. We go down by 2 stamina, go up by 1, and then we're at like 9-9 for everything else. That would feel pretty good. I mean, freaky feature of found footage is where we're balling out. The forest is safe, we're chilling, we're feeling perfect, we're feeling good. And, you know, the thing that I gotta say, the thing that I always gotta say, is that, you know, you might be wondering how the new place is. The new place is lovely, my roommate is lovely, everything's going great, but I am really tired, and so when I got settled in, I didn't want to unpack anything. I just, like, slept for, like, a day and a half. And then, when it was time to start doing a little bit of unpacking, because I got 2 rooms to unpack, you know, I got my office bedroom and my art room to unpack. You know, as that was being done, I was a little tired from doing that, but I got my computer set up ready for raiding, and that's what I started doing, and then that's the only thing that I had energy for. And then, you know, now I'm getting into the swing of things. I tried to record something yesterday, but it just didn't, like, it just didn't vibe very well, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes the vibe's a little off, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's a little bit off, the vibe, you know what I mean? You know what I mean. Everybody knows what I mean. It's a universal experience. And 12 damage or 12 damage? How would you like your damage, sir? Alright, glued. I mean, the mansion is, like, low threat level. 2 low threat level investigations for 15 EXP. Was no longer worth it, but sunk cost Falaki. The first investigation was just so bad. It was awful. Never do that ever again. But we can move it over to the village here, and we can get a high threat level location. The forest is already safe, so we're okay with that. We're chilling, we're feeling good. I think you don't decline me, fool. I think we can take the Doom. I think that's alright. And I mean, the forest is safe, so we're just big chillin' right now. We're just big chillin'. Oh my god, discipline? Discipline procced? That's like a thing that can happen? OMG. Time skip moment. Alright, we're gonna go glug glug. And then we're gonna go warm bath for some extra EXP. But I'm getting back into the swing of things. I'm getting some more energy. I'm getting some more energy. I'm still very tired, though. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's like the afternoon. Actually, you can see what time it is right there. It's the afternoon. And really, I could crawl back into bed right now and go to sleep. I could do that. It's true. Morbid Mermaid. Oh my god. Morbid Mermaids is back. Now, do we want to do sailors or mermaids? I mean, this is a boss fight, and we need to discard 2 items, so one of those items is going to be the compass. So we'll just go mermaids, and we actually have to do mermaids, obviously, because we're going to get burned. We're going to get burned, bro. We're going to get burned? True. I mean, honestly, we could just do nothing. It's fine. And then we can drink water. You know, sometimes you go to a restaurant, and you're like, you just have the water, and then you leave. It's just how it is. It's just look who it is. It's just how it is. It's just look who it is. I mean, catch me observing? Hell yeah, look at that. And I mean, I'll just take more perception because we don't have any attack speed stims, so it's alright. So once we're getting into the swing of things more and more, there are going to be more videos. But, you know, apparently, and I found this out, like, after the fact, but moving is apparently one of the most stressful experiences that somebody can, like, do. Like, an experience that you can opt into moving. And I mean, honestly, I kind of get it. But also, like, I kind of don't get it. Because obviously it's stressful just making sure that everything's packed and ready to go. But, like, I don't know, it's kind of refreshing to arrive in a new place. You know what I mean? I mean... Catch me noticing? Catch me percepting? I haven't really been playing a lot of video games, though. The only thing that I, besides rating, set the time aside to do, was basically just finish Kanto 8. And I managed to do 8:30 before it got nerfed, and that fight was really fun. I think that it's very interesting to see how Limbus Company difficulty works, because it's a very, like, it is harder. The main story is harder than most gacha games, because basically every single gacha game in existence doesn't want the main story to challenge you so that you can progress it, and then the, like, optional content, like the end game optional content, is what is, like, particularly difficult or, you know, challenging, because it's a gacha game and you don't always have access to every unit. But the thing about that I think is a little bit different with Limbus Company is that in Limbus Company, if you're using, like, an actual team, you can have mediocre identities on that team, even if they don't fit with that team. Like, I used Lobotomy Remnant Faust basically until the 29th of last month, because that's when the Battle Pass unlocked and I could get the shards to shard multi-crack Faust, right? Like, the thing is that's kind of crazy to me is how... Why am I looking at TV here? OMG. The thing that's kind of crazy to me is how, like, generous the game is, in the sense of, like, if you buy the $13 Battle Pass, you can basically get whatever you want, and you can build whatever team that you want with very limited exceptions. And I think that that's one of the reasons why the game should allow itself to be harder. Because it really is a situation where it's like, you know, people online are complaining, like, oh, you need this, this, and this, and this to beat this fight. Well, it's like, yeah, the game expects you to buy the battle pass once every, like, 8 to 9 months. And if you get that battle pass, you can get any unit that you want. So it's like, if you're complaining that, oh, this fight was designed with this unit in mind, you can just get that unit from the battle pass by using the shards. You know what I mean? And if you're like, oh, but I don't want to do that because I want to use these shards from the battle pass to make a team specifically, well, then the team that you're making can probably beat that boss fight, right? Like, I did it with, like, 830 is the one that got nerfed into the ground, and they really need to revert the nerfs, because the fight's not fun anymore. Like, the fight was really hard and really fun, and then they nerfed it into the ground to where it's like a joke. And it's like, okay. They did a poll thing, and it's like 60% of the people want the nerfs to be reverted, and 30% of the people want the nerfs to stay. And it's like, the nerfs gotta be reverted. The fight's not fun anymore. The guy can roll a 0, bro. This dude is, like, terrifyingly powerful, and he can roll a 0? Come on, man. He can roll a 0. Get out of here. Get out of here, bro. He can roll a 0. I gotta remember to throw away the compass. Just so that we don't get, like, epically owned epic style, you know what I mean? Let's see, how do we want to do this? I mean, I guess we just got a painkiller and a bottle of water, so... we can kind of just ball, you know? We can kind of just, like, hang out. No need to get specifically fancy. We know exactly how much damage we need to do to kill her. Pop the painkillers, and we're feeling pretty good about that. We can just drink the bottle of water later, by the way, and feel pretty good about that. I mean, why even take the risk here? We can just make the mansion low threat level and chill. But, I think Limbus Company should allow itself to be harder, because it really isn't like most gacha games. Because most gacha games, they get to this point where it's like, they power creep and power scale everything to the point where the average player can't keep up and you have to wail. But wailing in Limbus Company, like, actually sucks. Right? Like, and I don't mean from the perspective of, like, it's so greedy. I mean, it's like, why would you wail? Because you buy the battle pass, and for 8 to 9 months, you can basically get unlimited shards for that 8 to 9 month period, and just shard whatever you want. The literal only restriction is the last season is restricted until the next season starts. And then that season becomes, you know, the last season is always restricted. So we're on season 6 right now, so season 5 you can only get from the gacha banner. But it's like, if you play Limbus Company regularly, if you've played Limbus Company for, like, more than one season, you already have everything, right? Like, I am going to have every single archetype of team by the time season 6 is over, right? Like, by the time we're on season 7, I will already have done it. Like, I'll have every single team archetype and decent amount of egos supporting it. Just because doing the Mirror Dungeon hard every week, and occasionally doing Mirror Dungeon normals, and just, like, grinding the battle pass just gives you that much, you know? So it's like, I don't really get or understand why the community is like, oh, you have to use specific units for this fight, or oh, this fight is designed for specific units. And also, it's not even that intense to where you have to use different units anyways. Because people are saying, like, okay, bind. It's gotta be bind. You have to use bind to kill this guy. And he is, like, he does get hard countered by bind, right? Like, he really does. If you have bind, you can hard counter the boss. But the thing is, that's fine, because Chains of Others exists, and the game has made sure that you have a level 50 Merceau. So if you have a level 50 Merceau, then you can just use the level 50 Merceau on that fight, even if he doesn't fit in your team. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that kind of bothers me, is like Chains of Others, which is a default Merceau ego that you have at the very beginning of the game, perfectly counters the boss, and you have to have a level, well, you don't have to have a level 50 Merceau up until that point in the game, but there are chapters where it's like, you use Merceau and, like, one other person, and you have to use both of them. So it's like, do you just have a level 1 Merceau that gets tanked, like, that just gets killed instantly and then the other person solos it? Like, come on, man. You should have a level 50 Merceau by now, because the game obviously wants you to be using every single sinner, because that's how the game is designed. And that's the game design that they're pushing. Like, very obviously. And so it's like, all you need is chains of others, and you can cheese the fight really easily after, like, learning it for, like, 5 seconds. Like, after you get into the swing of things, you know when to use chains of others, that's it, right? Like, you're perfectly good. But you don't even need to use it, because I did it without using the chains of others. I didn't get to do it with both teams, I did it with a weird hybrid, because what was happening is I was playing through it with my charge team like normal, and my charge team is getting absolutely annihilated, so I switched my support units to being like my strong burn units, and then after my, I think I actually led with burn, because burn takes a long time to get going, but I started with my burn team, and as they started dying, the charge team came out and killed the boss. So it's like, and that's another thing, right? Like, if you play with a full 12 squad, like, you have 2 teams of 6 people, like you have 7 people on the field at the start, and then you have 5 people in reserves, and those 5 people are a different team, you're gonna win. Like, I really can't understand how the average person plays Limbus Company, I guess. Because it genuinely is crazy. It's like, the game has been trying to get you to do this for, like, since LCB regular checkup, right? Like, the game's been trying to make sure that you have one of every sinner leveled since that intervallo, and they keep doing things where it's like, oh, before this fight, Sinclair and Yisang got killed by the enemy, so you can't use them for this fight. Or like, okay, you know, this person died before this engagement, or this person's busy doing something else, so you can't use them. And so it's like you're limited on the sinners that you can use, that you can and can't use, right? So I'm just trying to think, like, come on, man. The game gives you an infinite resource generator that you have to buy for $13 every 9 months, and you don't have to gacha, right? Like, you do not have to gacha at all. The only thing that's even remotely worth hitting the gacha for is the Walpurgis Night stuff, or if you're a new player. If you're a new player, I 100% understand why you might need to gacha, and also, you know, if you're a new player, you might want to gacha on the standard extraction, because if there's an extraction thing that's out at that time, and it has something that's, like, niche for a team or whatever, you don't need that. Like, you just need standard extraction stuff. If you get a 3-star, you want it to be a random 3-star and not, like, you know, something hyper-specific that only works for a specific team, you know what I mean? So, the only times I think it's, like, you need to gacha in Limbus Company is when you're a new player because you don't have a team, you don't have an archetype, and you don't have the battle pass levels to, like, get anything that you want for free. Well, it's not free because you need to buy the battle pass, but you know what I mean. And, let's just get more perception. That would be funny. But, you know, it's just a little bit frustrating because you can tell that they are going somewhere very clearly with their game design, and I have seen this just by playing the game, and it's like, okay, obviously what they want to do with the meta is make it to where chain battles and swapping sinners in and out of each other, of like, okay, you know, Sinclair, Deviat, Sinclair, and Rodian retreat, they get replaced by somebody else for a little bit, then they come back later, and with this new, Zishun Ishmael ID, it's like she retreats and then comes back later. You know, they want you to be using, like, more sinners. They want to break up the 6-person or 7-person team dynamic, and they want to start making you think about, like, swapping people out mid-combat, or, like, doing these sorts of things, you know? And so... And also they want to make it to where you're using more sinners in general, which I think is really cool, because that's my biggest complaint with a lot of RPGs, is you just get the team that you know works, and then you just use that team forever, and you never change that team at all, right? Like, for Persona 5, right, like, you just take, I think it's like An and Ryuji, right? They do, like, An does the most magic, and Ryuji does the most physical, and you just use those two forever, because they're your first party members, and they're also, like, the best party members. I could be wrong, I just remember when I played through Persona 5, I just always used An and Ryuji because how broken they were. But, I don't know, maybe I'm sleeping on somebody else. I haven't played Persona 5 in like 80 years. But the point that I'm trying to say is I really like, and also for the final boss of Persona 5, at least the original, I haven't played the actual version of Persona 5 Royale. I haven't played that. But like for the original game, when you're fighting the final boss, that final boss, like, literally, do we have anything that can kill us? I don't think we do, right? No, we don't. We're good. Second mystery Fear Festival? Yeah. We're fine. But, you know, when you're fighting the final boss, you're fighting the final boss with the normal amount of team members you would normally have. I think if you're in an RPG with a big party, you should be able to use every single one of those people, and also, they should, like, you know, I'm not a big fan... That I misclicked. I meant to say the other guy. I misclicked. I don't know if that question was right, but I meant to click the top right, not the bottom right. But, yeah, no, it's just, like, I like the idea of using all of your party members in an RPG, because that's just what makes sense to me. Like, it doesn't make sense that you have all, like, I understand that team building is a thing, and fun, but, like, if you're fighting something, like, if you're fighting, like, the final boss, if you're fighting RPG God, right? It's an RPG, you're fighting God. You shouldn't just be like, okay, we have 4 people attacking God, and then the rest are just, like, twiddling their thumbs in the background. It's like, no. You gotta get more you gotta get more crazy than that. Everybody should be working together to fight God, because I think that would just be cool. Cooler than it is, right? But, you know, I don't know. I think Limbus Company should be harder, and also I think they shouldn't nerf the fights like 5 nanoseconds after they come out. Because, like, I wasn't able to experience the fucked up final boss of Kanto 8, which I understand why it was changed, because this is kind of a spoiler of the mechanics, but, like, not really in-depth. It's like, by turn, like, 8 or 9, I knew I had won the fight, and maybe one of my sinners would die if I stopped giving a shit or stopped paying attention, but the boss fight went for like 20 plus turns. And before it was nerfed, the boss was still that same level of difficulty, but you knew that you would win by like turn 8 or 9. But instead of taking 20 plus turns, the boss took 40 plus turns. And it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. You don't need to be that tanky. Like, you run out of mechanics in the first like 20 turns, the first 15 turns, you start looping all of your mechanics, and then you just have to go through, like, this long-ass cutscene of, like, just going through the motions over and over and over and over and over again while you whittle the boss down, and then you eventually win, and there's no, like, difficulty spike or no interesting thing happening, and you're just, like, waiting for the boss to die. I completely 100% understand that, why they would nerf that boss. But why they would nerf 830, I have no idea, because that's one of the best fights in the game, or it was, until it got nerfed. He shouldn't be able to roll a 0. Right? Like, I'm sorry, I think that if you're gonna have a system that you can use all 12 of your party members, and the boss has a thing where he kills, like, 4 people, and then you get 4 people reinforcing you, like, that's fine. I think people are getting mad because they're used to using, like, 6 to 7 sinners, and then, like, oh no, somebody in my party died. Oh no, that means that we get a reinforcement. And then they, like, restart, or they don't have, like, high-level reinforcements, they're just using people for support passives, which is okay, you can totally do that. It's just that, like, they're obviously moving the game direction and the game design in one specific way, so don't get mad at them for giving you, like, 2 intervalos and a Kanto to get used to, actually 2 Kantos at this point, they introduced, like, massive amounts of raid-wide damage in Kanto 7. Right? So it's like Kanto 7 introduces mass raid-wide damage. And then the 2 intervalos after that introduce the idea that sometimes your sinners are busy, so you need to use different sinners, or, you know, they introduce more chain battle stuff, or, like, reinforcements and retreating stuff. So it's like, you know, I think that maybe, just maybe, and also the Refraction Railway as well. You have to use 2 different teams until you meet up in the center. I think it should have gone crazier, and you put 6 sinners on one line and 6 sinners on the other, and you can't reuse those sinners, right? So if you used Yisang, Faust, Dawn, Ryoshu, Merceau and Hong Lu on line 1, you wouldn't be able to reuse either of those any of those 6 for line 2. You would have to put, you know, Heath Ishrodian, Sinclair Otis, and Gregor on line 2. Or you could just put, like, 1 person or, like, 2 people or 3 people on the line that's, like, really, like, you find easier, and then the harder line you could put more sinners on. But, like, you know what I mean? I think that's what they should have done, and I think they should do that in the MSQ as well. Because they're going towards that. They're like, every single thing that they're designing in Limbus Company is designed around that idea of using all the sinners and sometimes being restricted on which sinners you can and can't use. And maybe, I hope, in the future, and I know that they did something similar to this in Library of Runia, where it's like, you can only use, like, you dedicate this to doing this and this to doing that, and then it's like, you know, that's what I hope that they do in the future. Because I think that would be really cool, and I think that's really interesting, and I don't think a lot of games are doing that. And so when they make something that, like, forces you to interact with these mechanics, because you win the clash, and the boss has unbreakable coins, and your sinners are at 100% of their health, and the boss, with broken unbreakable coins, 0 to 100 kills, like, 3 or 4 of your sinners in 1 turn, I think that's fine. Because when he does that, 3 to 4 more sinners spawn right after, because of the chain battle system, and then the boss goes on cooldown for a little bit before doing it again. I think it's perfectly fair, I think it's perfectly fun. Anyways, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, have a good one, bye!